I ran marketing departments in corporate America for 10 years and then ran a digital agency for over another 10 years. So I know the roadmap to online success, and that formula always includes producing content to share your message, from your marketing message to sales and delivery. Hi, I'm Jennifer Neal, and you're listening to the Content Toolbox. I believe the secret to finding and creating raving fans online is through you. In building relationships through stories that share who you really are, create genuine, crazy, raving fans that keep begging you to take their money. And on this podcast, we'll be talking strategies, tactics, tips, and more with myself and other industry experts. So buckle up and start your engines, because it's go time. All right, welcome to episode number 2. Here we are going to be talking about some history. It's kind of a history lesson and the importance of why it is that we really want to build those relationships with our content, because ultimately, we're here to sell, to promote our businesses, to make things happen, right, in our business. And that's not going to happen unless people really have that know, like, and trust factor. In fact, I just got back from a conference, social media marketing world, and there was somebody there that even said, the know, like, and trust factor is not even a thing anymore. It's love. It's like you have to create raving lunatics who are like, shut up and take my money, right? That's what we're after. And I know that there's a way to do that online, and that's the system that I have been working on, and now I'm actually going to be doing that myself. And as I said, I'm also sharing my journey here to full entrepreneur, from doing just the artist and the actual working in the business to actually running a full scaling business and being able to give back. That's ultimately what I'm here for. So how does that happen? Every single person anywhere, especially in the online world, who says, if you want to get out there and sell, you have to have an audience, a tribe, a movement. I don't know what else is everybody calling it, but you have to have all of these people who are following you, and they're only going to do that if they hear your voice. And so it's all about getting that message out. It all starts with content, much to the chagrin of most of us who are like, yeah, I'll just keep putting that off for one reason or another, right?
Just do it!
Okay, so it's not just about content. It's about developing relationships. And there's a lot of people out there who are producing content, but it's literally like, hey, learn this. Here's the top 10 things this. Here's the top 5 things this. And it's the whole analogy of you go on a date and you're on your first date and somebody proposes on the first date. You gotta warm people up. You gotta create that relationship. That date analogy is perfect because it's about developing that relationship before you're asking for something, right? So that's the journey that I'm on, to figure out how to do that while still leveraging the time. Because I know that we, as entrepreneurs or wannabe entrepreneurs here, that we did not get into business just to go on Facebook and do Facebook Lives or to create a podcast. We definitely want to do things where we're leveraging our time and we're doing it in a way that's making things work the most efficiently. Most efficiently meaning smartest use of your resources, smartest use of your time, and smartest use of your content. And if the big thing that we're trying to do there is really create relationships, then we want to study that right from the beginning.
Children, it's time for your history lesson.
Okay, so I promised you a history lesson. So you're going to love this. This is a super, super condensed history lesson, because what I'm going to do is jump back over the last several hundred years, and we're going to kind of compress a lot of it. And I know that there's outliers, and this is based on my history knowledge, so it may not be 100% factually correct, but the theme is there. So go with me. Ready? All right. So let's go back to the Wild West times. Here we've got, literally, this is probably the worst analogy to actually use, but the snake oil salesman, right? The reason that they were able to stand up and sell Dr. whoever's cure-all ale, which as we know now didn't actually cure all and was not regulated by the FDA because there wasn't even such a thing. But the reason that they were able to do that is because they went around from small town to small town and they stood up there talking about the benefits of all this stuff, and they're touting this. They had a really good offer, which is definitely a part of it. But they're literally there one-on-one with a group of people, and they're talking and they're creating this belief. They're creating the idea that things can change for the group of people that's listening to them. But they're there in person. You're seeing the person. You're feeling what they're saying. Like, you can smell everything. You're sensory involved. You feel a relationship, like you feel like you know the person, and like you can trust the fact that this is going to cure my sleeping and my rash and like whatever all the other things are that these things cured. That was all about a relationship. And it was a relationship from stage, true, but it's still creating this relationship and a really good offer, right? Okay, so now take that, and most people started to realize, like, oh, just because I met Dr. Joe on the corner and he told me that this thing's gonna work, you know, my friend Susie over here tried it and it didn't actually work. So doubt started to creep in. So then what happened? Okay, I'm gonna fast forward, you ready? Industrial Revolution. So then we have all these companies who are proving that they can produce in quantity, that they can produce something that actually works, because you know so many other people, it's the social proof, right? So many other people that have used it, you know that it works, and you can have faith in a big company because you know that that big company is proven, like they've created their brand, they've created their reputation. You can follow that and have trust that you're gonna get what it is that you're buying. So the pendulum kind of swung from like, we're gonna do business with people that we've met, to do business with big brands, right? So big brands ran all the way through the whole like advertising heyday, Mad Men era, all of that. Those big brands that I grew up trusting. For the longest time, it was like, oh, yeah, I know I can go buy a Coke and it's gonna be the same. I can go buy a hamburger from McDonald's, it's gonna be the same.
2 all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and a sesame seed bun.
It's your McDonald's Big Mac.
All that consistency and the big brands, right? So that's where things are at. Now, that pendulum has swung back, and a lot of that is partly because of the dot-com boom. So all of a sudden you go from these big trusted companies to people who started selling online, and as they started, it's kind of weird, it's kind of like a right in the middle. Even like Zig Ziglar, who's selling from stage, selling online. Frank Kern, like this is getting right into our digital age and time, right? But you've got all these, like Dan Kennedy, combination of selling from stage and online. And so what you get is this like in-between thing of like, oh, I know this person. I may have even seen this person, or I know somebody who knows somebody who saw this person. So you get this like, I can find them online because I got this digital reach. They have a good-looking brand, like a good-looking, consistent brand thing. So I feel like I can trust them online, right? And then you still have that relationship. Now, what's happened over those years is as more people have jumped into the dot-com boom, we have so many more people who have delivered we're back to the like super crappy snake oil salesman stuff, right? So some of the things that you buy don't work or are not what they were advertised. And so there's a lot of jaded skepticism.
I don't believe you, baby.
And so now the pendulum has like swung completely back over to where people want to know, like, and trust you. In fact, they want to love everything that you're doing and follow you in a creepy stalker sort of way online. And that's okay, because that's what we want. Because if they're listening to us, they're gonna like us, they're gonna have the relationship, they're gonna fall in love with us, they're gonna become raving fans, and throw their money at us, right? That's ultimately what we're trying to do. So, how are we creating those raving fans? How are we building those relationships online? I know that there's a lot of like, well, do I do Facebook Lives? Do I do a podcast? Do I create a YouTube channel? Do I blog? What channel do I need to do? And there's a lot of people who are running businesses, maybe this is you, where you're getting hung up on even where to start. Because at this point in time, there are a lot of different channels and different ways to get your content out there, right? So we wanna make sure that we're getting you over at least that first hurdle if you haven't already got there, right? The biggest and the best thing is gonna be, I look at this like, one, where are your people hanging out? Chances are that your target customer is going to be on a whole bunch of the different platforms, but look and see where they're hanging out, and chances are you're gonna find out where they're hanging out in addition, because you like hanging out there too. So it has to be something that you like doing. If you hate camera, then probably don't do a video thing. You can blog, you can do podcasts. In fact, this is my second this is officially my third podcast. And the reason that I did the other podcasts, and they were great ideas, but horrible in execution. Actually, really not even great ideas. I was trying to do these podcasts around technology, and like nobody wants to listen to technology, so just don't even do that because it's a super crappy idea. However, the reason that I originally chose podcasts was because entrepreneur, working at home. I mean, actually at that point I even had my office, but I could get up and I could take my little cell phone and I could plug in my microphone and I could sit there in my jammies on my couch with my notes in front of me and go, all right, here's what I need to talk about. And so I could walk through my whole thing and I didn't have to get like all the stuff done, right? So that was a perfect thing for me because I knew that there are plenty of business owners out there listening to podcasts, case in point, and that I do it myself. Like I like to binge listen to podcasts, and also because it fit my lifestyle, because it made sense for me to be able to sit in my pajamas with probably a cat on my lap and just sit there and kind of talk away to the phone, right? So that model worked for me. Now, I also don't have a problem doing camera, and I finally just had to say, all right, get over yourself and just do your hair and put on some makeup and go stand in the camera and look at the little hole, right? That's what I'm doing. So now that is now the model that I'm producing here, but I'm also doing that to show what works and what doesn't in terms of repurposing the content. We're leveraging the work that I'm already doing, making the best use of the resources that I already have, and how can I put that into a system that's repeatable over and over and over so that it becomes a thing we can repurpose and also easy for other teams or companies to be able to do, or something that we as the new agency model can also do for other companies, right? Content repurposing is this huge thing. Like there are companies popping up literally in the last month, I have actually come across 3 new companies that are doing done for you content repurposing. That's fantastic. It's finally getting out there. People are leveraging the content you're already producing. We're leveraging time because at the level that you're at, you know that time is so much more important than money, right? So it's about trying to find what those patterns are. And I believe also that it's about creating those relationships. And that's why I've done a lot of studying about the human psychology and how the brain works and things like vulnerability, thank you Brene, and listening to Rachel Hollis. And I mean, there's so many people out there that are successfully building relationships online through their content and then repurposing that in a way that becomes super meaningful to your owners and viewers. That's exactly what I am on a journey to do as I move from executioner to entrepreneur in my business. So that's what I'm sharing on this. And because I have been in the technology space here for years and years, 10 years running this business, right, and 10 years previously in corporate, that I know there are, again, probably every single week, there's more tools and stuff that are coming out. I am a total tech nerd also, and I know that this is another place that a lot of people get hung up. So once you know what platform or platforms you're going to be on, there's so many people that get lost then on some of the next steps, which is either, well, what do I talk about and how do I talk about it? Or getting hung up on things like, I don't know how to create the content calendar in an efficient way. Or I don't know what camera to use or what microphone to use or what hosting platform to use. I want to help, if possible, to eliminate those technological barriers So I want to share the experiences that I have with tools I've used in the past, as well as new tools, kind of tips and reviews. And I'm also going to be bringing on industry experts to share ways that they are getting content out there, and also industry experts from some of those tools and softwares and stuff that we are already using, so that you can get another perspective. I don't want any of these excuses to stop me or to stop you from actually getting out there and producing that content. And part of that content is not just in your marketing and your sales, it's also in how you're delivering it to your customers, right? We wanna make sure that everything that you're doing from the very first time that somebody hears from you to all the way through that sales journey to onboarding, that they are a complete raving fan customer that's then gonna turn around and refer somebody else, and creating that whole loop, right? We wanna focus on the customer journey. We want this to be something that becomes the complete driving force for your business. And I think all it's gonna take is a few tweaks and getting all of us over those hurdles. For me, it's about time leveraging and resource leveraging. So I have an entire team of people. Finally decided to put part of that team behind what I'm doing here and actually get myself in front of the camera and make this happen.
Make your dreams come true! Just do it!
So that is what I'm on a journey to do here in this entire Content Toolbox podcast. So if you have anything specifically that you would like me to address or answer, anything like that, hit me up on comments here. You can take a screenshot of this episode, post it on any other channel, visit me on any of the platforms at It's Jen Neal, and hit me up, let me know what your thoughts are, what your questions are, because we're in this together, and I literally want like zero excuses, right? It's time to get it done and to dig into the toolbox, even though it's not actually a car toolbox, but it's a fun play, right? Anyway, let me know. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm so excited that you're joining me on this journey. Thank you. This is episode number 2. I can't even remember what it's about. That's the system that I have been working on. Oh, got an itch, sorry. How's my hair? Okay, cat hair's floating. Okay. So, totally lost my train of thought. Hold on.